live from the energy capital of the nation. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
Good Monday morning. News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome to the program this morning, and thanks for joining us so early. Hopefully my voice holds up today. I don't know. I lost my voice over the weekend. I'm not quite sure. I was out Saturday night, and I was out pretty late, so I think that might have something to do with my voice being a little weak today. So I might take it a little easy and try not to yell so much. I know it doesn't always sound like I'm yelling, but I'm usually yelling right into the mic. So I figured I'd start off the day. I'm going to share a little bit about what I did over the weekend, and maybe some people that might have a shared experience would like to call in and comment on this. And of course, the number is 682-1270, 682-1270. And of course, I'm talking about the Gordon Lightfoot concert on Friday night. And I'm sure there are probably a few of you out there that were at the concert. And I mean, it was an excellent concert. And this is the first time I've actually gotten to see, a big show at the Heritage Center over at Camplex. And the first thing that really struck me is just how great that place is acoustically. Wow. I was as flabbergasted at how great everything sounded, and it was a really good show. And I got to meet Gordon Lightfoot after the show, and he was a nice guy. He was funny and gracious, and it was a great experience all around, except for one little thing. And for those that were at the concert, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And there was one guy, actually, is a guy and his wife, or a couple. I don't know if they were married or not, but and they were sitting, I don't know, maybe about 5 rows in front of me, maybe a couple more than that. But it was to the front and a little bit to the right of me, and I was sitting on the left side of the theater on the on the orchestra level, near their back. And I mean, it was great seats. There's not a bad seat in that house anyway, but every time there would be a lull in the music. And even though for those that are familiar with Gordon Lightfoot, it's not a loud concert. It's not rowdy. It's meant to be, I guess, laid back, and, the crowd isn't there to yell and hoot and holler and have a rowdy time. I mean, you would expect that at, like the weekend before, the 38 Special concert. I didn't get a chance to go to that, but I heard it was pretty rowdy, and that's the kind of show where you have that kind of fun. When you go to see Gordon Lightfoot or any older folk singer from that era, it's not meant to be a rowdy show. So you don't start yelling the titles of songs after he stops playing. If he's going to play Sundown, just shut up and let him play. I mean, that's his biggest hit. He's not going to play it at the beginning of the show. He plays it, towards the end. And of course, once there was a little bit of an intermission, and I kind of looked around to see if I could figure out who this was, and I finally figured out who it was. It was a younger guy, which, it's cool that. I mean, this guy was younger than me. I don't know exactly how old he was. He might have been in his late 20s, early 30s, something like that. And, I mean, it's really cool that somebody of the younger generation appreciates, Gordon Lightfoot's music. I mean, it really was. But you don't heckle the guy in between songs. And then this guy's wife or girlfriend or whatever she was, at one point yells out, "Did you forget the lyrics?" You don't do that. I mean, this guy's been singing these songs for 40 years. He didn't forget the lyrics. He's just taking a drink of water. You just stop heckling. And so I guess my public service announcement for the day is, when you go to a show like this, act accordingly. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I know I can't be crazy for expecting people to act civilized. And for the most part, the crowd was great. It was just these two people, and it was, out of almost 1,000 people, that's not a bad record, but it makes our city look bad. It really does make our city look bad. So please, if you go to see a show, that it's not a rowdy, loud show. It's not going to be. It's not going to be a show where he can just shout out requests. I mean, the guy's going to play what he's going to play. I mean, he's been doing this since before I was born. So I think he knows what he's doing. Just let the man do his job. And he did an excellent job. It was an excellent concert. And if we get a reputation around here for being a hard crowd, we're not going to get good concerts. And then people are going to complain, oh, nobody ever good comes around here. Yeah, it's because you act like idiots when they do. And it only takes one or two people to ruin it for everybody. So just kind of keep that in mind. And on the off chance that the guy that was acting like this during the show is listening, just don't do it again, okay? And for the just to kind of put things in perspective, I think a couple of people around them, further up in the crowd, I think they kind of went, looked back and gave him dirty looks or maybe whispered something to him because they did stop. And of course, this idiot, as soon as Gordon played Sundown, they got up and left. I mean, you paid good money for a ticket, and he still probably had another 30 minutes of good music left. And as soon as this guy hears the song he wants to hear, he gets up and leaves. And that's not the way to behave. I mean, save that for a nice, loud rock concert where it's acceptable behavior. I've done my fair share of going to rock concerts and yelling and screaming, and I've even crowd surfed before. But you don't do that at this kind of show. Okay, I got that off my chest. It was a great show. It was a great show. And Gordon Lightfoot, he met, some contest winners afterwards and signed autographs. And it took a little bit of time to talk with each person. And it really, he's Canadian. So, have you ever heard of a rude Canadian? The guy was his roadie was nice. It was really, it was just a great experience. And hopefully, they understand that the crowd wasn't all about just one guy yelling inappropriate things during lulls in the music. So now that I got that off my chest, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little Obamacare for a little bit. I don't know if we're going to do a whole show of it today. In the 9 o'clock hour, we're actually going to start our Tuesday morning quarterback segment, which, I know it's Monday. But it's normally going to be on Tuesdays from now on. After this week, it'll be on Tuesdays. So Chad will be in for an entire hour, and we're going to spend an entire hour talking sports. And I think starting next week, we're even going to start getting some local sports guests in as well. I don't want to put it on Chad to have somebody for next week, but if he does, he does. And I know we're in talks with some of the coaches over at Gillette College, and it should be fun. And it'll definitely be an educational experience for me. I probably should know a little bit more about stuff besides football. So all that and more, News Talk 1270 KIML.
If it's happening in Wyoming, he's talking about it. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.